Have you ever noticed how you can be working hard, doing everything you were taught to do, paying your bills on time, being responsible, and somehow your financial life still feels like a leaky faucet you cannot fix? You know the feeling. You wake up, go to work, make money, and yet your future seems just as fragile as it did last year. It is like you are running on a treadmill that keeps getting faster even though you are not moving an inch. And here's the weird part. Most people think it is normal. They think it is just part of being an adult. You work, you pay bills, you stay tired, and you hope everything sorts itself out eventually. Except it does not. It never does. Because here is the thing, and stay with me on this one. Most people are not destroying their future income by doing something dramatic or stupid or reckless. They are destroying it quietly, unintentionally, almost politely. They are doing it through small decisions that feel harmless today, but end up costing them thousands of dollars in future earnings without them ever realizing it. It is not the big choices that ruin people. It is the normal ones, the ones society told you were responsible, the ones your parents and teachers framed as the safe path, the ones every middle-class adult does without questioning. And the reason you never hear this explained clearly is because everyone around you is making the same mistakes, so it feels normal. But normal is exactly what is destroying future income for millions of people. Look, I am not here to shame you. I am here to show you the patterns nobody explains, because once you see them, you cannot unsee them. Once you understand how your habits today quietly shrink your income tomorrow, your entire financial life starts to make sense in a way it never has before. And yeah, some of this might sting a little, but that is good. Sometimes the part that stings is the part that saves you. Because when you finally see how the average person is unintentionally sabotaging their future earnings, you stop being average. And that is the real win. My name is Michael, and I help people understand money the way school never did. Not with complicated charts, not with guru hype, just the truth about how ordinary financial habits shape your future, whether you realize it or not. Point 1. People destroy their future income by locking themselves into expensive lifestyles too early. Here's what this looks like in real life. You get your first decent paycheck, maybe a promotion, and suddenly it feels like you finally get to breathe. So you upgrade. The nicer apartment with the in-unit laundry, the new furniture because your old stuff doesn't match the vibe anymore, the upgraded car because you're done driving something embarrassing. And here's the part that is almost funny if it were not so financially devastating. You are not doing it to show off. You are doing it because it feels like the natural next step. You worked hard, so this must be what you are supposed to do. Everyone else your age is doing the same thing, so how bad can it be, right? But stay with me. The emotional consequence hits quietly. Every upgrade adds a new monthly obligation. A little more rent, a little more insurance, a little more interest. And suddenly your financial life turns into a subscription service you did not mean to sign up for. You cannot invest because now you do not have room. You cannot take risks at work because you need the paycheck. Your future income shrinks before you ever earn it because your lifestyle got to your money first. And here's the punchline. You handed future you a stack of bills in exchange for a moment of, I deserve this. You just gave your future money to your past self for absolutely no reason. Point 2. People destroy their future income by treating raises like spending permission instead of investment opportunity. It is wild how predictable this is. Someone gets a raise and within 1 month their lifestyle follows like a dog on a leash. A slightly bigger paycheck should mean more margin, more breathing room, more investing power. But instead, it turns into nicer food, better clothes, upgraded coffee habits, or a subscription they swear they will use every day but forget exists by month 3. They feel like they finally have money, so they start spending like money grows on that tree in their backyard. And look, emotionally, it makes sense. You worked hard. You put up with meetings that should have been emails, bosses who do not understand what you do, and projects that somehow doubled in size overnight. Of course, it feels like you deserve a reward. But here's where things get interesting. Because every time your lifestyle rises to match your income, your future income stops growing. You eliminate the gap that was supposed to go toward investing, compounding, and building actual long-term wealth. You turn every raise into nothing more than a fancier version of the same financial stress you already had. So, you did not actually get ahead. You just made your expenses more expensive. You traded long-term compounding for short-term convenience, and you never even noticed it happen. Point 3. People destroy their future income by never building rare skills. Most adults stop learning the moment they get a job. They cling to the skills they already have and silently pray the world never changes. Spoiler alert, it does not care. The world keeps moving whether you keep up or not. And in real life, this shows up in the saddest way possible. People sit in the same job for 10 or 15 years, doing the same tasks, using the same knowledge, hoping seniority will magically translate into higher income. It never does. The emotional consequence is this slow, creeping frustration. You feel stuck. You feel overlooked. You feel underpaid. But here is the truth nobody tells you because it sounds harsh. You are not being underpaid. You are being outskilled. The market rewards people who bring rare, hard-to-replace value. It does not reward people who simply show up consistently. Think about it. The people who jump income brackets are not usually the ones who work the hardest. They are the ones who learn the things other people avoided because they look difficult or intimidating. They learn to negotiate. They learn tech. They learn leadership. They learn systems. And every new skill became a multiplier on their income. Meanwhile, most people are busy trying to look busy instead of trying to become valuable. And it is simple. The market does not pay you for being loyal. It pays you for being valuable. Loyalty keeps you employed. Skills change your income. Point 4. People destroy their future income by avoiding discomfort at all costs. I know this sounds dramatic, but think about your daily decisions. The moments where your stomach tightens just a little. You avoid the conversation with your boss about asking for a raise. You tell yourself now is not the right time, even though there is never a right time. You avoid applying for higher paying jobs because the hiring process feels intimidating and you do not want to risk rejection. You avoid learning new skills because it is overwhelming and you are already tired. And instead of pushing through, you settle for what feels comfortable. Here's where it gets interesting. Avoiding discomfort feels safe in the moment, but it is quietly expensive. Every time you avoid one of those uncomfortable actions, you lock yourself into your current income level for months or even years. You choose emotional comfort over financial growth. And emotionally, yes, it feels easier. It feels like you are protecting yourself, but you are not. You are just delaying the life you actually want. The people who double or triple their income are not necessarily smarter. They are just willing to feel awkward for a few minutes. They send the uncomfortable email. They take the interview they do not feel ready for. They try the skill they might be bad at. And because they do what others avoid, they earn what others never reach. It is painfully simple. Every dollar you are scared to earn goes to someone else who is willing to feel uncomfortable for 5 minutes. Point 5. People destroy their future income by underestimating compound growth. Here is where it gets crazy. Most people think saving $100 is saving $100. They think it is this small, simple action with a small, simple outcome. They do not understand that saving $100 today is actually saving thousands of dollars your future self never gets to have if you skip it, because money does not grow in a straight line. It grows like a snowball rolling downhill, getting bigger and faster the longer it moves. But most people never let the snowball roll long enough. In real life, this shows up as people skipping investing in their 20s because they tell themselves they will start in their 30s. Then they skip their 30s because life is expensive. Then their 40s hit and suddenly they are playing catch-up with math they cannot outrun. The emotional consequence is brutal. It is that sinking feeling when you realize your investments should have been building for 10 or 20 years already, and nothing you do now can recreate the time you lost. You can save more later, sure. You can invest more aggressively, maybe. But you cannot rebuild the compound growth that should have been quietly working for you all along. It is harsh. Your money needed time more than it needed you. You could have been doing nothing and your money would have been doing everything. That is the part that stings the most. The growth did not require effort, just consistency. But most people never give it the chance. Point 6. People destroy their future income by trying to look successful instead of becoming successful. Stay with me on this because this one hits hard. The most broke people often look the most put together. They have the nicest clothes, the newest phone, the upgraded car with the monthly payment that quietly eats half their paycheck. And on the outside, it looks impressive. But on the inside, their bank account is one unexpected bill away from total collapse. In real life, this shows up as buying things to prove something to people who are not thinking about you. You are trying to show your coworkers you are doing fine. You are trying to show your family you are doing better. You are trying to prove to strangers that you are not struggling, but here is the uncomfortable truth. Nobody cares. They notice for maybe 5 seconds and then go back to thinking about their own lives. Meanwhile, you are still stuck with the payments, the debt, and the anxiety. Emotionally, it gives a quick dopamine hit. That feeling of, I am doing okay, lasts just long enough for the bill to show up. Then, the reality kicks in. The punchline is brutal. Every time you try to look rich, you quietly choose to stay poor. You trade financial security for a temporary image. You trade long-term stability for short-term validation. And the worst part is that you rob your future self of income, growth, investing potential, and freedom, all because you wanted to look like you had it together today. Point 7. People destroy their future income by accepting low-paying jobs out of fear. Most people take the first job they can get and then never question it again. It feels safe. It feels mature. It feels like you are doing the responsible adult thing by sticking with something predictable. But that predictability slowly becomes a prison. You wake up 10 years later, realizing your income did not grow because you never forced it to. You capped your own earning potential without a single person telling you that you had to stay. And here's the part nobody likes to admit. It was never loyalty keeping you there. It was fear. Fear of interviewing, fear of rejection, fear of starting over, fear of hearing no. Emotionally, it feels safer to stay where you feel comfortable, but comfort quietly drains your income year after year. It is painfully accurate. Fear has a salary, and it is not a high one. The longer you let fear choose your job, the longer you choose a paycheck that does not match your potential. Point 8. People destroy their future income by not understanding the power of negotiation. Here's the thing nobody tells you because it benefits your employer if you never figure it out. Your job will not randomly wake up one morning and decide to pay you more. Companies do not give raises out of kindness. They give raises when you make it impossible for them not to. In real life, this shows up as people accepting the first offer handed to them because asking for more feels awkward. They think they are being polite. They think they are being easy to work with. They think they are doing the responsible thing by not rocking the boat. But here's the truth. Every time you avoid negotiating, you are volunteering to work for less money than you are worth. Emotionally, it feels like you do not want to be difficult. You do not want to come across as greedy. And it is brutal. Silence is the most expensive habit you can have. The raise you did not ask for compounds into thousands of dollars you never get to earn. Point 9. People destroy their future income by spending money the moment it shows up. This is the financial equivalent of eating every calorie you consume without ever storing anything for later. It feels fine in the moment, but long-term, it guarantees you stay exactly where you are. In real life, this shows up as people upgrading their lifestyle every single year instead of upgrading their savings. A slightly bigger paycheck turns into nicer restaurants, slightly more expensive clothes, a pricier apartment, or a car that magically grows a new monthly payment. And at first, it feels justified. You worked hard. You earned it. But emotionally, something strange starts to happen. You never actually feel ahead. You feel like you are constantly surviving instead of building. You feel like your money vanishes on impact. And the punchline is painfully accurate. Without margin, you never get options. You cannot invest. You cannot take risks. You cannot change careers. You are stuck living the same financial year on repeat because you spend every dollar the second it arrives. Point 10. People destroy their future income by failing to build multiple income streams. And this is the part nobody talks about because it exposes how fragile most people's financial lives actually are. Most people rely on one paycheck for their entire financial existence. One job, one employer, one source of money holding up their entire life. It is like building a house with one support beam and hoping it never cracks. In real life, this shows up as people panicking the moment the economy shifts. A layoff, a recession, a company restructuring, a change in management, and suddenly everything feels like it is collapsing. Emotionally, it feels fine until it does not. When that single income stream goes quiet, so does your entire life. And the worst part? Most people do not realize how vulnerable they are until something forces them to. It's simple. One income stream is a vulnerability, not a plan. Multiple income streams are not about getting rich. They're about not being one paycheck away from disaster. Point 11. People destroy their future income by surrounding themselves with financially average people. Look, I am not telling you to judge anyone. I am not telling you to cut off your friends or pretend you are better than them. I'm telling you a simple truth that nobody likes to admit. Your environment becomes your default. If everyone around you overspends, you will overspend. If everyone around you avoids investing, you will avoid investing. If everyone around you treats debt like a normal accessory, you will start thinking the same way. In real life, this shows up quietly. Your friends go out to dinner 4 nights a week, so you go too. Your coworkers upgrade their phones yearly, so now your phone feels outdated. Your group spends money the second they make it, so saving even a small amount starts to feel weird. The emotional consequence is that you never grow because you never see growth. You cannot imagine a different financial life because you have never been around someone living one. The proximity is not neutral. It is shaping you even when you do not notice it. Your financial habits are contagious, whether you want them to be or not. Point 12. People destroy their future income by thinking they have more time than they actually do. Most people act like their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s are decades they can casually waste. In real life, this shows up as postponing every financially meaningful decision. The emotional consequence is waking up one day with less energy, less time, and fewer opportunities. It is the simplest one of all. Time wins every race you procrastinate. So what does all of this mean? It means the average person is not sabotaging their future income because they are irresponsible. They are sabotaging it because they are normal. Normal spending, normal habits, normal mindset, normal decisions. The truth is that your future income is not built on what you do someday. It is built on what you repeatedly do without thinking. The goal is not perfection. The goal is awareness. Because once you understand where your future income is leaking away, you can either keep doing what everyone else is doing, or you can quietly step off that treadmill and build something better for yourself. Something calmer, something more stable, something that actually works. You do not need to look rich. You need to stop being stressed.